What is going on, guys? It is Daniel Wright, and you are here listening to another episode of Paving the Way. And happy Saturday morning to you, wherever you're at, whatever you're doing, whoever you're doing it with. I hope it's all the things that are making you happy, because life is too short to be anything but happy, right? That's what we're told, and that's what we aim for. So, guys, I hope you all have had a great week. I hope you are looking forward to a good weekend wherever it's at. I know, I think it was last weekend, maybe I was talking about that we kind of were having like a cold snap here for the fall season here in North Carolina. As you can see, I got a hoodie on today. But I think this weekend's supposed to like kind of get a little bit nicer. We're in this like weird time of year where it's like you have these random like 30-degree mornings and then it's 70 degrees in the afternoon. So I'm sure you guys have seen the memes going around where you're like, the top half of your body's all in a sweatshirt, the bottom half you're in shorts and flip-flops, right? That's kind of what we're doing right now. But nonetheless, it's supposed to be a beautiful weekend here in the Carolinas, and I plan to take full advantage of it the best I can. So, guys, this week and today and just right now in life, like I tell you guys all the time, I'm really trying to, whatever I can, to try and keep things relevant for you guys when I'm putting these episodes out. A lot of it is stuff that I'm either going through, learning, trying to learn, whatever it may be. And I do have plans and intention to start getting some folks on the show. I've got a few that I've reached out to, trying to get schedules ironed out and put on this, put on the calendar to get some episodes recorded for you guys, to start giving you guys some other perspectives, some other folks to kind of hear their thoughts and their views on things other than just myself. So we've got a good platform going here. We've got a good following and a good audience that seems to enjoy what we're doing. So why not expand on it, right? But what I want to talk about today, as the title says, soft and hard skills. So I'll just get straight to it. All right. Soft skills and hard skills are two things that I got brought to my attention earlier this year when I was having some conversations about some just personnel at the company, and just trying to kind of figure out where do they fit? What value are they bringing? Like, how can we help them? Whatever it may be. And just trying to figure all this out. And then it was presented to me about the concept of soft skills and hard skills. And I said, well, what the heck is that? Like, skills are skills. How are they soft and hard? And I said, I guess that's something that maybe if I don't know it, I'm sure there's probably other people out there who don't know it also. I'm not an anomaly like that. So over the last couple of months, I've really been keeping that more front of mind, as we're kind of evaluating, end of year stuff, what we're looking like for next year, and people, and, how much they've grown and what kind of attributes they're providing to the company as a whole, or what kind of skills that they possess or have learned, things like that. And I wanted to just share with you guys kind of the differentiation between soft and hard skills. So soft skills are the stuff that isn't necessarily like the tangible things, right? Like, it's not the stuff that you can actually like put a check mark on and say this person completed it, or they know how to do this, or, it shows on a report or things like that. The soft skills are the stuff that's like communication, teamwork, leadership, adaptability, contributing to a positive work environment, things like that. And so those types of things are extremely important, because although they're not checking the boxes, pounding the nails, writing the letter, whatever it is, if you don't have a company full of people with soft skills that can provide to those things, the communication and the teamwork and things like that, then it really, like, you just have a bunch of like robots in there just checking boxes and doing things and going home. There's no life, there's no culture, there's no morale to your company. So having folks that have soft skills are very important in your organization. It's also important to recognize those soft skills, because if you don't, people don't see any importance in them, right? If you as the leader are not recognizing those soft skills with those individuals, they're not going to be very important. So therefore, they're not going to keep doing them, or they're not going to work on them. If maybe they are lacking in some of those soft skills and they need to work on them, point those out, make them coaching points that people can kind of like jump on board with and try to improve and progress and get better for not only themselves, not only the company, but all those around them. And so then when you switch over to thinking about hard skills, those are the exact opposite. They're the things, like I said, they're checking the boxes, they're writing the letters, completing the tasks, performing the duties, things like that. You have people who are naturally gifted with certain skills, such as, hand-eye coordination, or, drive to like make the phone calls and talk with people and communicate and things like that, as part of their just day-to-day things that they have to do in order to get their job complete, to fulfill their duties. And it was brought, like I said, when it was brought to my attention, I found myself focusing on more of the hard skills with people, because I've always been, as a kind of a natural born operator, so to speak. Like, I have more of an operations mentality of like, okay, we have these tasks in front of us. We need to go get them done, and then we go home. And that's just what it is. Like, we don't need all the stuff in the background, all the communication and the teamwork and this and that. Just everybody do their shit. We can get it done and go home. And when I was, like I said, when I was having these conversations a while back, it was about, hey, Daniel, you probably want to consider what kind of soft skills are being brought to the table by some of these individuals that aren't necessarily like the tactical skills of just doing the work every day. And I'll be completely honest with you. This year, our turnover for employees and team members has been at a minimum, as it's been less than we've ever had than any other year. I'm not saying that it's contributed or it's, just only because I'm focusing on people's soft skills and not just their hard skills. We have a lot of other things that we've created, a great team that is helping develop things and more, company culture, morale, and things like that. But when myself, who's, more or less at the top of the org chart, starts kind of, making these an important topic of conversations with the other people on our leadership team, that we have to evaluate people's soft skills. Yes, we can have their checkoffs, we can have their evaluations of all the stuff that they are supposed to do every day, but we have to evaluate and take into consideration their soft skills, because those have a big deal in what we do here. Having good culture, having good morale, having good, attitudes and communication and things like that is vital to a successful company. Whether you're a company of 2 people or 200 people, those things really matter. You hear time and time again that some of these people working at these large organizations feel like they just show up, go to their cubicle, do all their stuff, clock out, go home, and they're just a number. They just flow right through the company, and they're really not, recognized much or anything like that. And so it just kind of makes it hard for them to really mesh and create a good culture. Those are also the same scenarios where those people who feel like that, the time that they get an offer of something just a little bit more or a little bit better, or they think the grass is a little bit greener on the other side, they're going to take it and they're going to jump at it and they're going to leave and they're going to go and do all that. Whereas if they're in an environment that recognizes not just their hard skills, but also their soft skills, their characteristics, their attributes, the things that they just bring to the table as a human being, and not a cog in the wheel of doing all the things. If they're recognizes that, it makes them feel more appreciated, more valued, more seen, heard, loved, respected, things like that. So making sure that we as leaders take the time to recognize those soft skills is extremely important. Not just for, employee retention and things like that, but more importantly for the morale, for the culture, for things such as that you just don't get it if you don't pay attention to it. So often, and I am guilty of it. Like, I'm the first to say I'm guilty of it. So often I get so focused on, we have to do the things, we have to get this done, we have to check the box, we have to complete the project, so on and so forth. And really, if you take a step back and get a little bit of a bigger view on everything, the landscape changes. You start to realize that, man, maybe you are surrounded with really freaking good people. Maybe you are surrounded with individuals that are willing to communicate and have camaraderie and be respectful and teachable and things like that. All the stuff that you can't necessarily, just point out on a quarterly review or a monthly evaluation or things like that. But when you really just take a second and look at the people that you have as people and not just doers, all of a sudden things change. All of a sudden people are more willing to contribute. They're more willing to take ownership. They're more willing to go the extra mile, and things just continue to fall into place more and more. Like I said, this year, our employee retention has been at an all-time high and our turnover rate has been at an all-time low. And we've been more selective in the people we bring on. We have a more rigorous and rigid kind of onboarding process, specifically in our operations department, because there's so many things that have to be learned in such a short amount of time. But it's in doing that, we've started incorporating things that include those soft skills, include those communication abilities, include those teamwork abilities, include recognizing other people's soft skills. We don't call it that in our 90-day period. We have like a probationary period where every 30 days there's certain things that have to be accomplished and benchmark and things like that to keep progressing through the company. But it really is like probably 2 or 3 out of the 5 or 6 things that each person is getting evaluated on each month have to do with their soft skills. And like I said earlier, it's not a box that you can check and say this soft skill is met, but those things that we're evaluating fall into that soft skill category. Not to say that we don't, take a lot of importance and things like that in the hard skills. You have to know how to do the job. You have to know how to fulfill your role and complete those tasks. But we started to realize that it maybe is just as important to work on those soft skills and evaluate those and develop them and coach them and teach them into people. Because hard skills, I say it all the time. And if any of my guys are listening to this today, they're going to probably give me crap for it if I see them. But I say it all the time. We can teach anybody to stripe lines, to spray sealer, to do things like that. What we can't teach is why we do it. That's really not what you can teach people. Like, you can tell them, you can explain it to them, but embodying that and getting them to really take that in and agree with it and demonstrate it and live those reasons out of why we do what we do, that's the stuff where the soft skills come in, that they're willing to learn, that they're willing to contribute, they're willing to buy into what we're doing as a whole, as a company, as a unit, and want to be a part of that. So the soft skills and the hard skills all have their places. They all have their importance. They all have their relevance in the workplace, at home, things like that, right? So just make sure that when you're looking at people, because we all do it, right? We all evaluate people, whether we realize we're doing it or not. And I would believe that 9 times out of 10, we lean towards evaluating them based on their hard skills. And is there a time and a place for that? You bet. Absolutely. There has to be a time and a place where hard skills are evaluated and making sure that things are upheld. But those soft skills, that has some credit to. And it's something that, like I said, is very easy to go by the wayside because we get so focused on the here and now, check the box, complete the job, and go on to the next one. But I encourage you guys, take the time when you're looking at folks, when you're evaluating them, whether you're an employer, a leader, a peer, a spouse, whatever it may be, what soft skills do those folks bring to the table that you're not looking at? What hard skills do they have that you can maybe easily point out or help coach or teach or things on? But what are the soft skills? That's when you got to take a second, take a step back, take a second and evaluate what it is that you're really looking at there. So it's just as this company continues to grow and my opportunities to work with these individuals continue to progress, and I get every day I wake up for another opportunity to get to do this. Guys, I'm learning so much more just stuff. And business isn't about just, doing the job, sending the invoice and collecting the money and doing it all again. If you're in business, and you have something more than just owning a job, that you're just self-employed or things like that, and you have a team around you, the business is about the people. The business is about the individuals that you surround yourself with on a daily basis. Because without the people, you would be left with owning a job. Okay. And if that's what you want to do, if that's what makes you happy, by all means, I support you. You do it. There's nothing wrong with it. But if you're wanting to own and run a business, you have to make sure that you're considering the people, the human beings that we are fortunate and blessed to be surrounded by on a daily basis. Because without those people, like I said, I own a job. And if I'm going to own a job, I'm the type that I'd rather go to a 9 to 5 and someone else can deal with all the headaches of owning the place. And I can just show up, do my hard skills and go home. Okay. But that's not what I'm called to do. That's not what brings me fulfillment, happiness, and satisfaction. And it's becoming more and more prevalent to me as the company grows, as we're exploring new opportunities, which, as I've told you guys, is kind of coming down the line here in probably the next month or so. There's going to be some more things that just kind of unfold within our company and around our company that is going to make a lot more sense with why this stuff is so important to me now. And I just can't encourage you guys enough to take that into consideration. So evaluate the skills, soft and hard, and make sure that you're giving enough credit to each individual area to make sure that you're, looking at the whole picture, the whole person, the whole picture, the whole situation. So I know this was a little bit longer today. Sorry if I got to rambling for you guys, but this is something that, like I said, has just become kind of, important to me, and I want to share it. So I appreciate you guys. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your weekend. I look forward to seeing you guys on Wednesday of next week. Let me know if you need anything.